The Vancouver Canucks have two Swedish gods on their team, and they've been really showing up to play as of late. Obviously, you know who I'm talking about. It's in the title, it's in the thumbnail. We're talking about Alex Edler and Louis Eriksson, two Swedes who have such an impeccable impact on this Vancouver Canucks squad, and who really showed up to play last night against the Pittsburgh Penguins. And no, just kidding, we're not talking about those two, we're talking about Pettersson and Markstrom. Now, this is not necessarily marketed as a game review per se. It's not going to be necessarily a game review. We'll just talk about the impacts so far, and specifically last night that these two players had. Because Jacob Markstrom's impact on the first period against Pittsburgh was literally not there. He had no impact on the first period of the game, and that's because the Vancouver Canucks didn't allow a single shot on net, which against the Pittsburgh Penguins is a pretty nice achievement there. However, the last time that did happen to the Penguins, it was in Game 1 of the finals against Nashville, which, they eventually won, right? Because they won the cup. So I wasn't really feeling too confident after that, but the Penguins eventually did end up losing to the Canucks. It was a 4-1 final score. And 4-1 sounds great. 4-1 is an amazing number to win a hockey game because it shows that your offense was clicking, the defense did its thing, and overall it was a positive result, right? But looking at it a little bit more on paper, it does look like the tail of the tape does present itself, and the tail of the tape all falls on two Swedish players, Markstrom and Petey. Markstrom in this one was crazy good. The Penguins had 29 shots on goal, Markstrom allowed 1, which is not bad. It's a pretty good save percentage, but the quality of these Penguins shots were so vast compared to what a traditional hockey game would offer that Jacob Markstrom is leaving this game as a champ, an absolute champ who was able to stop really good 2-on-1s, really good chances, passes thrown out to the crease, and he was just impeccable. You can't beat what Jacob Markstrom was able to do last night. Which brings into the whole discussion the whole idea of the contract situation, re-signing Markstrom, Seattle existing, and that was a big focus on the panel on Sportsnet's little pre-game and intermission show that they had over there. So Jacob Markstrom just had an absolutely beautiful night where he just completely controlled the play. He was confident, he was poised, and he was efficient. Many plays where the Penguins are just cycling it around. They're just trying to get their licks in. They're trying to get their vision in. And eventually the shot comes and Markstrom just calmly, gloves it. No big deal. He just gloves it. And he did that so much throughout the night that I don't think the 1 goal against on 29 shots tells the whole story of just how dominant Markstrom was. But all those 29 shots, they came in the span of about 40 minutes because the Penguins didn't have a single shot on goal in the first period. So that just kind of alludes to how busy Markstrom was throughout the entirety of the second and thirds of this game. And there's another thing that really does indicate just the quality that Pittsburgh was putting out there after this little first period where they didn't get anything on net. The Vancouver Canucks in the first period, where the Penguins were shotless, had 5 shots. After the first, officially it's 5-0 in terms of the shot clock. At the end of the game, however, where the Penguins didn't have any shots in the first period, Pittsburgh leads 29-14. The Vancouver Canucks only had 9 shots in the second and the third period combined. They only had 14 shots in the entire game, yet they won 4-1. That in itself does not sit well with me. Sure, they capitalized on their chances, sure, they won, and sure, they were efficient when they did get their chances. But having only 9 shots in 40 minutes of play, where your opponent gets 29, does not feel great. It feels great for the moment because we won, and looking at the game, we saw some really good highlights, but letting that result marinate within me a little bit is not giving me the best of feelings right there, because I know that in a game where the Canucks play that scenario and they played that way 10 times, they're probably going to lose at least 8 times. This is not the way to win, and the Penguins really did just have their way with the Canucks after the first 20 minutes. So it's really surprising to me to see that the result ended up the way it did, especially with the shot clock being so in favor for the Penguins. But you know, that's where Markstrom comes out to play, and that's where Markstrom saves the game. And there's another player who saves the game too. It's Elias Pettersson, who, despite the Canucks only having 9 shots in 40 minutes of play, Pettersson is able to get 2 points, a goal, and an assist in that span of time. Elias Pettersson gets himself a goal 16 minutes and 12 seconds into the second period, right after Jake Guentzel gets a goal to put the Penguins within 1. And it's a really nice play. Miller plays it back over to the blue line, Myers comes in, one-times it towards the goal, Murray makes the save, and Pettersson, while the puck is bouncing around and while Pettersson is falling backwards, is able to scoop the puck up over and into the corner. It's an absolutely beautiful play, and Pettersson is the guy to do it. It's a shot to me that's very reminiscent of Brock Boeser's goal for Quinn Hughes' first point all the way back there in the LA game. And all in all, it's just a scenario where the goal scorers score the goals that goal scorers score. And at this point, the Vancouver Canucks are getting outshot in the game, and the Penguins have all the momentum because the Penguins have had all the zone time, the Penguins just scored a goal, and it looked like the Penguins were in a position to come back and repeat what they did in the most previous Canucks versus Penguins game, a game that saw like 15 goals or something like that. So, Petey coming in there, scoring that goal, definitely makes things a little bit easier on the Hart to handle. Then give it up for the third period performance because Elias Pettersson feeds it for Brock Boeser in front, who gets a pretty lucky goal on Matt Murray once again. Pettersson takes it, he dumps it in, and then the puck comes back to him because the puck gets sent away, and he takes the puck at the goal line, kind of does a little tiny fake, and then he throws it really lightly on the backhand, centers it over. Brock Boeser takes it, shoots it, he scores. It's a lucky goal because, you know, Brock Boeser on Matt Murray, it's always kind of lucky. But Pettersson with the poise, the playmaking, and the vision, the awareness, all displayed on that play. JT Miller is a guy who had 2 points in this game, so did Elias Pettersson off of those 2 later plays. But Jacob Markstrom and Pettersson, to me, are the 2 that really solidified this game in the Vancouver Canucks' favor. And in a game where the Canucks only had 14 shots, I'm pretty thankful for that. Because seriously, how many hockey games are there where you can only get 14 shots and say that you win 4-1? 4 goals on 14 shots. Matt Murray out there with a terrible save percentage in this one. Murray maybe shouldn't have even been in net. .714 is his save percentage, and that's just terrible. Not to say that he should have stopped any of the goals that he allowed, because the Canucks did score some pretty nice looking goals, but like seriously, on paper, that doesn't look good at all. The Canucks had very little opportunity in this game in terms of the shots on goal, but where they did shoot the puck on net, they did convert well. In fact, you could argue that they should have scored 5, because there was a delayed offside that eventually was coach challenged and called back off of another Miller goal, where the Canucks were on a 5-on-3 and they were just totally dominating for a minute, and eventually it was called off. But all in all, the Vancouver Canucks, despite the fact that they had so many minutes of power play time, so many minutes of 5-on-3 power play time, so many penalties called against the other team, so many power plays, they just only had 14 shots. Come on, like, I know we won and I feel good about that, but it doesn't feel good to know that we only had 14, and Pettersson converting on the chances that we did get is a very nice sign to me, and Jacob Markstrom controlling the play on the other end when the other team was just totally dominating with 29 shots in 40 minutes does feel great as well. So all in all, it's a game where the 2 Swedes came alive, and the Vancouver Canucks win, which feels great, but at the same time doesn't feel as great as it could. Huh. It's weird being a Canucks fan, right? Hope you enjoyed this video, Social 9, and bye.